I am going to call to order this November 8th Utility Service Board meeting at 5:07 p.m. We're just a little late getting started. First item up is the approval of the minutes from our previous meeting on October 25th. Are there any questions or changes to the minutes? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and Latrina, please call the roll.
Sherman,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Kapler.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have approval of the claims. First item is the standard invoices in the amount of $384,599.99. Any questions on invoices? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina?
Sherman,
Did you say Sherman or Burnham?
Sherman,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next is utility bills in the amount of $18,197.10. Any questions on utility bills? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina?
White,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Burnham.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we have wire transfers in the amount of $479,074.46. Any questions on wire transfers? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve wire transfers?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Last is customer refunds in the amount of $2,490.20. Any questions on customer refunds? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina?
Kapler,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next is the approval of the consent agenda. And so I will turn this over to Vic Kelson.
Good evening, everyone. For the record, Vic Kelson, Utilities Director. Madam Chair, before we do the consent agenda, I just learned from Brad Schrader that there is apparently an error in the memorandum of understanding, item 5 on the agenda. We would like to remove that, ask you to take that off the agenda for tonight. We'll take it up the next time.
Okay. So let's see, do we need a motion to amend the agenda by dropping that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, is there a motion to remove item 5, the request for approval of a MOU?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and Latrina, please call the roll.
Kapler,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Burnham,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Parmenter.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
Now I'll do the
Okay.
consent agenda.
Now I'll turn this over to Vic Kelson.
I'd like to bring tonight's consent agenda, which totals $5,930. The first item is the $0 item for Control Freaks Consulting. That's an amendment to extend a completion date for the work they're doing. The second item is Heflin Industries, $4,400 to install power Plumbing and stand for washer and dryer at Monroe. And the third item is Valenti Held Incorporated. They're doing for $1,530. This is for a bathymetric survey of Miller Showers Park. Would any board member like to consider any of these separately from the others? Hearing none, if there's no opposition, the consent agenda will be approved as recommended by staff. Hearing no opposition, the consent agenda is approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next item for consideration is a request for approval of a grant agreement with the Redevelopment Commission to fund a stormwater drainage improvement project. And I will turn this over to Phil Peden, I believe.
Thank you, Phil Peden, Engineering Department. Yes, we applied for and received a grant from the Cdbg for the Evergreen Village Development, and that's an area over by Rockport Road and Countryside Lane on the west side. Just continues to have flooding issues during very large rain events. So we've applied for a grant to try to help relieve some of that. We're going to be working in a few of the detention ponds in that watershed along the stream, and with some obstructions that are near the bridge or the culvert at Rockport Road. This will be CDU crews, and just ask that we approve the resolution for this MOU.
Okay, are there any questions for Mr. Peden on the board? All right, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve this MOU?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, please call the roll.
Roberts,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Vernon,
Yes.
Kapler.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item is a request for approval of an agreement with Milestone Contractors LP for the Fairview Terrace Milling and Paving Project. And Jay Ramey will tell us about this.
Actually, you've got James Lee, Utilities Engineer,
Okay.
covering for Jamie. Jay has been very helpful in getting all of this put together for me, and I really appreciate his help. We're at the point now where we want to award the agreement, sign the agreement with Milestone Contractors for the Fairwood Terrace Milling and Paving contract. If you'll recall, the board last meeting opened up bids, and we found the lowest responsive and responsible bidder was Milestone for $130,300. And we now want to enter into the agreement to complete that work. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board? Okay, seeing none, then is there a motion to approve this agreement?
So moved.
Second.
And Latrina, please call the roll.
White,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Kapler,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Vernon.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
that agreement is approved. Now, before we go on, I just wanted to let any members of the public know that we will have a time for petitions and communications from the public at the end of the meeting. And so if you have any comments you would like to make, please enter them in as a comment on our Facebook live stream, or if you're on our Zoom meeting, you can put them in the chat and they will be read aloud. All right. So next item is any old business from the board. Any old business from staff? Okay, any new business from the board?
Well, I don't know if it constitutes new business, but I do have a couple of questions, and maybe this is the best time.
Okay.
So one question is, I have not looked at navigating the CBU website for questions or comments, but I did have occasion in the last week to try to access the Public Works Traffic Department to ask questions about a particular traffic light that wasn't working at all. And the website was a nightmare to navigate. So I'm hoping that we have someone at the CBU website who makes sure that ours is not a nightmare.
Holly is working on the website all the time, and we make every effort we can to keep it from being a nightmare.
Okay, it was just really that someone needs to redo the Public Works website. My second question is a real oddity. I get my my bills every month electronically, but I do like to print it out to have a copy. And I've noticed that the last 3 times when I print it out, even though it shows perfectly normal, when I print it out, it's upside down and backwards. And I called CBU, and whoever answered it said she got my bill and tried to see that hers was normal. Is there any, it must be at my end, so any clues about why it's coming? Nothing else that I print is wrong, so it's just the water bill. Well, if anyone has a clue, let me know, because I tried everything and couldn't straighten it out. All right, we'll move on.
Okay, thanks, Jim. All right, and let me ask, is there any new business from staff?
None.
Okay. We have a subcommittee report from the Finance Subcommittee, and so I will ask Mr. Sherman to report.
Yeah, there was one item on the agenda, and it had to do with refinancing some sewage works bonds. And basically, I think the bottom line that you all want to know is that it's going to save CBU a lot of money in the neighborhood of $500,000. These are utility revenue bonds, and they're secured by the funds, by user funds. And I can't claim to understand all of the line items about how the money adds up and how we gain that. I assume that people who know better are doing a good job. I did understand most of it, I think, and I did ask why, if the rates were even better a year ago, why we didn't do this when we did some other refinancing last year, and the answer is that there's a 10-year waiting period, and January 2022 is the first time that these bonds are available for refinancing, and that Laura and the other folks in that office are on top of it, always looking to refinance and save us money. So the subcommittee was convinced that this was a good thing to do. We voted unanimously to accept the recommendation. And I'm sorry, Vic, I'm forgetting the name of the gentleman who did the presentation.
Buzz Crone, he's on the meeting.
Okay, so he's on the meeting now, and will answer any questions from other members of the board. And he can explain all of those numbers if you'd like. So, Bud?
Yeah, thank you. I think you did an excellent job of summarizing the deal. But yeah, there's 2 bonds that were issued back in 2012. The total outstanding amount right now, including interest through the end of this year, is a little over $7 million. And we're proposing to issue 5.7 million of bonds at a premium of 500. Right now, it's estimated at approximately 530-some thousand of premium bonds, meaning that we get more money at closing than what we have to pay back. It gets factored into the interest cost when you look at the difference between the coupon rates and the actual true interest cost. Our true interest cost will be about 1.8%, and the gross savings, would be in excess of 600,000. Net present value, a little over, about 560,000, I believe. Let me just double check that number.
I think it was 566.
Yeah, 566. The last run, and I want to just emphasize these are based on conditions today. We just got these numbers updated either Friday, we got some Friday and some this morning, and 566,000 is what we call the net present value. That's after you factor in the premium and the difference between the coupon rates and cost of issuance, everything. That the all-in true interest costs 1.8% and gross savings of in excess of 600,000 with a net present value of about 560,000 based on today's market conditions. And we hope to get the go ahead from the council on Wednesday and get this deal done before the end of the year. So that's our goal.
All right. Are there any questions from the board on this? Okay, so I guess I would entertain a motion to accept the recommendation of the Finance Committee and approve this resolution 2021-12, which is refunding of sewer works bonds. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and Latrina, please call the roll.
White,
Yes.
Parmenter,
Yes.
Kepler,
Yes?
Sherman,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Brenham.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, motion passes. Very good. Next up, we have staff reports and Vic Kelson. Are there any reports?
Yes, I don't have a lot to say tonight. The first one is we have one new hire, Mickey Weisstein is a communications operator in the control office. And the other is a new certification. Brandon Prince has passed the collection systems class 2 exam. So those are, congratulations to these employees. The other thing I wanted to make mention of is that next board meeting, we anticipate we'll be bringing another amendment for the contract for the management of the contaminated soil for the Hidden River project. We continue to encounter contaminated soil, and it continues to lead to cost overruns. So there will be another, we hope, the last contract amendment for that effort. Chris Wheeler is working to identify whether there's insurance coverage to cover any of it. So we will be bringing another one of those. So I think we all have to kind of brace ourselves for that. And then I've had a number of questions regarding the main break that occurred last week and flooded some areas of over there downtown. And that pipe, Brandon told me, was a 1951 cast iron pipe that we didn't have any particular repair history with that one. So we don't know whether there was approximate cause or not. Those are the kinds of things you almost never know. But we'll certainly review the condition of that main as we go forward with water main replacement. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
I guess I would just say that, anyone listening should realize that if we don't keep up with our infrastructure and the pipes, this is what happens. You get main breaks and then nobody's happy. So I think everyone should be pleased that we are trying as best we can to take care of the existing pipes, which are quite old by now.
Kirk White, you had a question or a comment?
Yeah, Vic, I was just wondering about the contaminated soil. Is it from the same location where we've experienced that before, or are we experiencing it from other digs as we go?
No, this is the very same location. This is adjacent to the former dry cleaners at Lincoln and 3rd Street. So that former dry cleaner building at the southeast corner at Lincoln and 3rd, and that is that contamination is extending across the intersection. That's causing everything to move a little slower than it would normally because we have to haul that dirt away, have it tested, and then we can dispose of it.
Well, I'm glad to hear that we are investigating any liability insurance that could have been in force during that time that business was in operation. I know it takes some work to dig and find the, well, that's the wrong word, to investigate and find whether there was insurance and how much there was and who the carriers were, who the owners were at that time even. I know that takes a lot of work, but if it could possibly save us a few $100,000 for the ratepayers, I think it's worth the time.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks.
Okay, is that all you have, Vic?
That's it.
For
Yep.
us? Okay. Well, then I will ask Holly, are there any public communications to share?
There are none on Facebook or here on Zoom.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, with that then, is there a motion for us to adjourn?
Moved.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Good night,
Have a good
everyone.
evening, everyone.